Think about the last time you walked into a car dealership or furniture store. You had done your homework. You knew your budget. Maybe you told yourself you'd spend around $25,000 on a vehicle, or that you wouldn't go above $1,500 for that living room set. You walk in feeling prepared and financially disciplined. Then the salesperson asks you a question that feels perfectly reasonable, even helpful. What monthly payment would be comfortable for your budget? You think about your income, your bills, and you answer honestly, I can probably do around $400 a month. The salesperson nods, types into their calculator and says, Great, I can make that work. You feel relief. You're sticking to your budget. You're being responsible. But here's what just happened. You walked in with a $25,000 limit, and you're about to walk out having agreed to a $35,000 purchase. You intended to spend $1,500 on furniture, and you're about to finance $2,400. The number you gave them wasn't a constraint. It was a target. And they just reverse-engineered the most expensive product they could possibly squeeze into that monthly figure by stretching the payment term as long as legally allowed. You think you controlled the negotiation by setting a payment limit. You didn't. You handed them the keys to your wallet and asked them to drive. That question, what monthly payment works for you, isn't customer service. It's a financial engineering technique designed to maximize how much you borrow while making you feel like you stayed within budget. And it works because of something called payment framing, a cognitive manipulation that exploits how your brain processes numbers over time. My name is Rickard, and I've spent years studying how lending institutions and retailers structure their offers to maximize debt extraction. The patterns are consistent across industries: auto dealers, furniture stores, electronics retailers, student loan servicers, mortgage lenders. They all use the same playbook because it works with disturbing reliability. If you've ever wondered why your budget always feels tight even as your income grows, or why you're constantly servicing debt payments instead of building savings, this video will show you the mathematical and psychological mechanism behind it. We're not talking about budgeting tips or motivational advice. We're talking about why your brain systematically underestimates financial obligations when they're broken into monthly installments, and how lenders weaponize that cognitive bias to keep you borrowing. If you're someone who wants to understand the actual mechanics behind financial decisions rather than just getting surface-level advice, make sure you subscribe. These videos break down the math and psychology that most people never see but experience every single day. And if this is clarifying something you've felt but never fully understood, a thumbs up helps other people find this information. Because today, we're not discussing whether debt is good or bad. We're examining why $500 a month feels affordable when $30,000 feels expensive, even though they're mathematically identical. And once you see the mechanism, you can't unsee it. Here's what makes that question so effective. When someone asks what you can afford in total, your brain has to confront the full weight of the purchase. $30,000 feels heavy. It triggers hesitation. You start questioning whether you really need it. But when they ask about monthly payments, they've shifted the entire evaluation framework. You're no longer deciding if you can afford the car. You're deciding if you can absorb another line item in your monthly budget. And that's a completely different calculation. The conversation moves from, should I buy this? To, can I fit this payment alongside my other payments? One question protects your wealth. The other assumes the purchase is already happening and just negotiates the extraction method. You've gone from buyer to borrower without noticing the transition. Yet this manipulation has a name. It's called payment framing, and it works because your brain processes small recurring numbers completely differently than it processes large one-time costs. A $2,000 couch feels like a significant financial decision. It makes you pause and consider alternatives. But $89 a month? That's barely noticeable. It's less than your phone bill. The actual cost hasn't changed, but by fragmenting it across time, the perceived burden shrinks dramatically. Your brain treats these as separate financial categories, even though mathematically they're identical. And lenders know this. Your brain evolved to handle immediate threats and resources. A cost right now feels real. But costs next month or next year? Those feel abstract. When you commit to $400 monthly for 6 years, your brain doesn't process the full $28,800. It processes $400 today and assumes you'll handle the rest later. The pain gets spread so thin across time it becomes invisible. This is why payment plans feel manageable, even when the total would have made you walk away. Let's look at what this actually costs. That $2,000 couch at $89 a month for 24 months? You're paying $2,136 total. The $30,000 car at $499 a month stretched over 72 months? That's $35,928. You just paid nearly $6,000 in interest that felt invisible because it was absorbed into the monthly payment. Now combine them. A $400 car payment, $150 for furniture, $200 for a student loan. That's $750 a month, which is $9,000 a year, which is $90,000 over 10 years on items originally worth about $50,000. The gap between what things cost and what you actually pay keeps widening. Here's how they make that payment feel manageable. A $30,000 car at 6% interest over 48 months costs $705 monthly. That feels steep. Stretch it to 72 months and it drops to $499. The payment fell by over $200, which feels like savings. But you just added 2 years of payments and nearly $4,000 in extra interest. They didn't make the car affordable. They made the debt last longer. The monthly number shrinks while the total cost grows. This isn't unique to car dealers. Furniture stores advertise monthly payments before mentioning total prices. Electronics retailers push financing at checkout. Student loan servicers present repayment as monthly obligations. Mortgage lenders structure conversations around what payment you qualify for. The script is identical across industries because it consistently produces the same result: people borrowing more than they intended. Once you see the pattern, you realize nearly every major purchase in your life has been structured this way. Now multiply that pattern across time. If your monthly debt obligations total $800, that's $9,600 per year. Over a decade, that's $96,000 leaving your accounts to service debt. Over 20 years, nearly $200,000. This isn't money going toward assets or investments. It's paying for the privilege of spreading purchases across time. When you think in payments instead of totals, entire years of earning capacity disappear into interest and extended terms without triggering any alarm in your brain. And here's what you're actually giving up. That same $400 a month, if invested at an average 8% return, becomes roughly $73,000 in 10 years. Over 20 years, it grows to around $236,000. Over 30 years, you're looking at over $600,000. But when it's locked into debt payments, it generates nothing. It just disappears. And the choice isn't between buying now or buying later. It's between servicing debt or building wealth. Those are fundamentally different financial trajectories. This is why the "everyone finances things" argument doesn't hold up. The average household carries over $150,000 in debt while having less than $8,000 in savings. When income increases, people don't build wealth. They qualify for larger payments. That raise doesn't improve your financial position. It just increases your borrowing capacity. Payment thinking normalizes debt to the point where income growth becomes irrelevant. So here's how you counter it. Before discussing payments, ask for the total cost and negotiate from there. Do the math yourself. Monthly payment times number of months equals what you're actually paying. Set your maximum price before you walk in, not after you sit down. Ask what you're giving up by locking this money into payments instead of letting it grow. And use this rule. If you can't pay it off in 4 years, you can't afford it. Being financially smart isn't about managing payments efficiently. It's about recognizing when you're being guided into debt that benefits someone else's business model, not your financial position. The shift is from borrower to builder. From asking, "What payment can I handle?" to asking, "What total cost makes sense?" and "What am I sacrificing to pay for it?" That's where actual financial control begins.